Hello? Hello? What's going on, people? Oh, whoa, it's still a black screen behind me. Hello. Sorry I'm late. I apologize. I'm like a minute late. Don't even worry about it. Do not even worry about it. We are in a new location. I don't know if you guys can see that. I do not know if you guys can see that, but we are in a new home, a new place, a new beginning, if you will. Yeah. So I just moved. And I have officially what I would call chat. I have a question for you. At what point are you officially settled into a new place? I don't know how often you guys have moved. I've moved quite often as a kid. But at what point do you say you're officially like settled into your new place? Like it's after there are no boxes left on the floor, after you get the furniture in, perchance. I don't know, man. I would say I'm settled in. I've got a couch, a bed. I've got 2 places to relax in my office. I would call that settled in. I feel like that's a good. I feel like once you have one place of relaxation, no, one is too few. You're still battling. I think once you have a couch, you're settled in. A couch, a bed, and somewhere to work. Oh. All right, what are we up to today? I'm like 99.8% sure that we're watching interesting videos. The 0.2% of me is saying, I don't know, fuck all. Yes, we are watching interesting videos. Now, these interesting videos have been collected over the last like week or so. I will take community posts eventually, but at the current moment, we're just chilling. That being said, I have a list of videos for us to watch. I could show you the tab. Give me 1 second. I don't know, something about moving. I moved a lot as a kid. I think like 5 or 6 times, 6 or 7 times. Yikes. That's where my mode has gone. I don't know if that's telling of where I was prior to stream. Wow. But each time, I kind of lived out of boxes the whole time. Moving into this new place, I've officially been able to like given the opportunity to decorate an area. It's new to me. As a 20-year-old man, it is new to me to decorate an area. I know, that's crazy to say. That's insane to say, some would say. But now with the freedom to decorate, I'm not entirely sure what to do. I'm like, we could do this, and this. My creative mind is like running amok, you know? And nothing really sticks. Thankfully, my girlfriend's locked though. She's picking W items to decorate the house with. Right. I was setting up. I don't want you to see me. Okay. Yeah, so we've got a list of videos to watch here. I'm giving us a 2-hour time limit. We're only going to be watching videos for 2 hours. I do have a tendency to yap, so those 2 hours could be consumed real quick. But, so then we don't take up any more time. Without further ado, let's watch our first video called Why Earth Sucks Compared to the Planet Hestia. I knew.
Ow.
Whoa. Calm down. I knew that Earth was never the best. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. We all knew that Earth was never the best. Although, you know what? I'm almost going to change my mind about that, because there was a time period on TikTok where I was fed like handfuls of Earth edits of it blocking the radiation from the sun. Oh my god, it's so tough. Hold on. Wait, maybe Earth is cracked. If this planet does not do the equivalent to what Earth is doing for us. Hold on. Earth. Like graphic? I don't even know what to call it. Dang. It's not showing me the cool image that they all use. What the fuck? Like the simulation. Post. Editor, if you can figure out, if this ends up becoming a YouTube video, editor, figure out what one of those videos. Oh, wait. Pause. I found it. It's on Shutterstock. Wait. I clicked on it. No, it went away. It went away. Oh, there it is. Like this right here, it like the magnetic force field that Earth wields is so cool. That makes it one of the best planets, hands down. That it has to be considered at least. One sec. There we go. Okay. Anyway, back to the
hottest update for Starbirds is out now. Earth seems like a paradise for life, but it's actually kind of mid. Big parts of it are covered by hostile deserts of ice, fire, rock, or darkness. Could there be a planet that's not just more suitable for life, but ideal? So perfect for the emergence of life, filled with not just biomass, but also biodiversity, that Earth is a barren desert compared to them.
I feel like... Hello. Kayla. I feel like in a universe that is ever expanding, right? Well, like scientifically, we have found out that the universe is ever expanding. In a universe ever expanding, are we guaranteed a planet that's just like more suitable to life in every way, way and form? Like, isn't that just like bound to happen? I feel like this is...
As we've begun to look deep into our galaxy, we've found a new and weird type of planet, super-Earths. Planets larger than Earth that have the potential to not only host life, but to be super habitable. Let's take all the science on exoplanets we have.
So why don't we know if they are habited? Can we just not see that closely? Is it just like in reference? Is it like in the Goldilocks zone of those places? So we're like, that could hold life. Is that how they're guessing, or do they have pictures of these places? So why not? Why that would be? I feel like that would be way bigger news if we knew we had pictures of these places.
And imagine a perfect world, Hestia, after the Greek goddess of the comfy home, the best possible planet for life in the universe. First of all, we want a perfect star. The perfect star for the perfect world. The perfect world needs a perfect star, but that may not be a yellow dwarf like our sun, because they die in under 10 billion years and keep getting hotter as they age.
10 billion years? You think humanity is still going to be alive in 10 billion years? I don't think so. 10 billion? The nukes had to have gone. Let's be real. The nukes had to have been launched. Humanity wiped. Do we think any life is going to make it to 10 billion? Yeah, I could believe that. I could imagine in 10 billion years there's still life on Earth. I just don't think it's humans. There's no way. Because even us in that timeline is like a fraction of that bar graph.
70% of the window for life on Earth has already passed. Earth has a mere couple of billion years left
Wait,
before
what?
the sun ends it all.
Pause. Run that back.
70% has a Mitch our sun. The perfect world needs a perfect star, but that may not be a yellow dwarf like our sun because they die in under 10 billion years and keep getting hotter as they age. 70% of the window for life on Earth has already passed.
Oh, so we're only in the like Goldilocks. We're already 70% through our life in the like the Goldilocks area. Is that what it's saying?
Earth has a mere couple of billion years left before the sun ends it all. 70% of stars.
Oh, only a couple billion, not 10 billion. It lasts for 10 billion, but we only have a couple billion. We've already been through 7 billion, 4 billion, I think. So then we have what, like 6 billion years left? That's plenty of time. We got plenty.
Are red dwarfs. Pretty small and alive for trillions of years, basically forever. Since they're not that bright and hot, their habitable zones where water can be liquid are pretty close to them, which makes it very likely that their planets are tidally locked, one hemisphere a hot desert and the other an icy hell.
Wait, what? Oh shit! Right, because the water would evaporate from one side, and I see. Never mind.
Also, young red dwarfs tend to vomit deadly radiation that sterilizes their planet.
Yeah, that's what the Earth is defending against, bro. That's what our sun's doing to Earth, and the Earth's blocking that shit. It's insane.
Boils their oceans away. The perfect stars for life might be orange dwarfs. In the Goldilocks zone between.
Do suns just come in rainbows? Is there like a purple star too? I'm
red and yellow dwarfs, their energy output is very stable. Radiation tends to be less aggressive, and most importantly, they live up to 70 billion years, giving life plenty of time to emerge, evolve, and thrive. So here's our perfect star, an orange dwarf, born 3 billion years ago in a calm galactic neighborhood. For the next tens of billions of years, it will be super stable.
I want to live on that purple planet. This one right here. I want to live on this purple planet. I'm living there. Imagine a whole community lives through here, right? My life mission ends on this planet over here. With a red moon, that's crazy. Pink moon, that's crazy.
Planet is our super habitable super Earth.
Yeah, everyone lives on this planet. I know it. Everybody would live on this planet and discriminate against all these other planets. They would call themselves the mainland, the main planet. I just know everyone wants to go there. I'm living out there, bro. I'm living out there. It's like living in the woods in modern society, you know? I'm living out there.
Hestia, where life can thrive like nowhere else in the universe. The perfect planet, a super habitable world. Hestia's radius is 1.3 times Earth's, so it has 70% more surface area, a lot more space for life. With almost twice Earth's mass and 20% more surface gravity, walking on it
okay, bro, just mogs Earth.
Unfortunately, it's a hot, dead desert. Like Mars and Venus today, it's still missing two things. Firstly, a magnetic field that protects Hestia.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. Earth mogs Hestia because it doesn't have no magnetic field. The Northern Lights, that right there.
From solar storms and the cosmic radiation that sterilize its surface and blow its atmosphere away like poor Mars. So deep inside, Hestia gets a massive metallic core spinning in a liquid mantle that creates a magnetic field of exactly the right strength for.
Is that how Earth works? No fucking way. I feel like I learned this in science class, but it did not comprehend to me as a human being how large Earth was at that time in my life. So the fact that I'm learning this again now, and I know how large Earth is, and kind of like as an adult, that's mind-boggling.
Super strong protection. And Hestia needs plate tectonics to mix its surface around. Venus turned into a 470-degree hell because without tectonic plates breaking and mixing, the tension and heat below its surface unloads in apocalyptic volcanic eruptions. Continental plates moving into the depths also remove CO2 from the surface, which is great because excess CO2 makes the atmosphere heat up too much. And they bring up a vital mix of water, minerals, and elements that life can feast on. We also have something for you to feast on, our latest video game. We've been working on to all and build you.
Sorry.
Okay, now that the basis for life is set, let's see how the surface turns out. We still need to make a bunch of character choices to make Hestia super habitable. Each upgrade comes with trade-offs life has to work with. We want Hestia to have mild seasons that create
What the fuck are those things, bro? They look like giant mites. And I do not want to know. I do not want anything to do with this world, bro. Why are they amphibious?
migration, boom and bust cycles, and evolutionary pressure, so we tilt its axis slightly and give it 36-hour days, and 4 small moons that
36 hours. Chat, you're given 36 hours a day. What are you doing with the extra 12? Gooning does not count. You can't goon for 12 hours. What would I do for the extra 12 hours? Honestly, I'm extending that sleep schedule. It already sucks. I'm adding 4 more hours to my doom scroll sessions. Okay. 4 more years, or 4 more years. 4 more hours go into the sleep schedule. 4 more hours go into the doom scroll. I got an extra 4 hours to do anything with. What am I doing for another 4? Honestly, 2 of those hours, I'm probably sitting on the couch watching TV, and 2 of those hours, I'm attempting to do something productive. Whether or not that actually turns into productivity, hey man, only the gods will know.
that hang like pearls in the night sky. Moons are crucial because with the right resonance, they create stability, avoiding overly punishing disruptions. The perfect land, wet, isolated, warm. Earth has one huge downside. Most of its land is bound in large continents, whose central areas are very far away from water, creating deserts with scarce resources and hostile environments. So for Hestia, we maximize coastlines and avoid megacontinents. We'll give it many fragmented continental plates, creating a geology
It's Hawaii maxing right now.
that's ideal for producing long island arcs.
This shit's the Moana map.
Hestia is now an archipelago world, with a few dozen continents and millions of islands of all sizes.
Could you imagine Pirates and the Caribbean on this map? That would go crazy. I would also like this as like a no. I'm gonna say like a Fortnite map, but I don't think that'd be fun. Too much water.
Shapes. All of its land has access to water, salt or fresh, without a single desert, creating the maximum land surface area for life.
Yeah. What are the macaroni shells floating in the air here? What are we doing here? What are these things? This at least like kind of resembles like I don't know, those mites earlier. Disgusting. These are at least have like wings. They're birds. That has wings. It's like a dragonfly. This thing has wings. It's like a weird flying squirrel goblin thing. That's just a shell. What?
Hestia's biomass on land is also supercharged because we'll make it 5 degrees Celsius warmer than Earth. This doesn't sound like much, but as we know, Earth has plenty of spaces that are uncomfortably cold for much of the year, while tropical rainforests have ideal conditions for life. On Earth, they hold more biomass than any other land ecosystem.
Holy shit. If I knew what that meant, that'd be impressive. But unfortunately, I don't know what PGC means. But that diff, man, that diff is crazy. I can tell you no matter what stat that is, that diff is crazy.
And Hestia is nothing but tropical forests and ice-free polar regions. Hestia's islands have hundreds of thousands of unique habitats, with hundreds of thousands of little private niches to fill, each home to unique creatures that are ultra-specialized for it. All possible variations on a theme manifest in different species.
Yeah, see, I fuck with all these things. Whatever these are, yeah, these things all have wings. They look like... I like this thing. Whoa, I lost my mouse. There it is. Bro, this thing looks like a good torpedo. This thing looks like it gets up to fast speeds.
One stranger than the next. On Earth, tropical forests like the ones in these islands house 50% of all species on just 10% of its land. The isolated tropical islands have given nature thousands of attempts at building funny tree-type things that densely cover Hestia. On Earth, plants are green to best catch energy from the sun, but with Hestia's orange dwarf, they take on darker shades to hoard the fainter light. We could spend hours diving into cacti forest islands where slow-moving hunter plants shoot poison needles at screeching feathered lemurs or the...
Like, I know this guy's videos are typically like factual or have some factual belief under him. At what point are we making shit up? Like, would this be realistic for, like, would it be realistic for these plants to evolve this way? Or is he just making shit up? Right?
Fungi forests of the high plateaus dominated by...
That can't happen. No matter what, we are not having that thing. That cannot happen under no circumstances.
By armored centipede lizards.
No.
But we should move on to another ecosystem that Earth can only dream of.
Armored centipede lizards are a no-no.
The sky. The best possible sky. Another world to inhabit.
The best possible sky. I'm imagining we have like dusk colors for most of the time. It's like that golden hour glow. Sometimes we have some high noons. But I feel like the dusk is kind of what carries, you know? Or like the morning, the sunrise.
Large mass holds gases much firmer than Earth.
Oh, we're talking about gases. That oxygen's got to be like taking in... I don't even know how to put this into words. It's like cool. It's like going to Colorado, going to the top of Pikes Peak, spending like 3 days up there, then going back down, flying back home, and taking a deep breath. That's how I imagine that would feel. Just dense, heavy, wonderful air. And you just, wow.
So its atmosphere is much thicker, with just under 1.5 times the pressure, but much richer in oxygen and CO2. This could be catastrophic for life because high levels of oxygen make wildfires more likely and more devastating.
Aren't wildfires like low-key good for the ecosystem? Isn't that like, if humans were not a thing and like wildfires just naturally happened and nothing was there to stop it, isn't it just like a cycle that ends up becoming good for the growth and advancement of the world? I don't know. I could be lying on my ass right now. Also, it's an archipelago. It's going to hit a border of that land and then things are going to regrow. No worries.
But since Hestia is so warm and humid, evaporation produces so much rain that wildfires never get powerful enough to wipe out ecosystems.
You think they got hurricanes there? I don't want to see no fucking giant beetle neither. Just talking about this frame for a second. If I saw a Hercules beetle like 10 times the size, bro, no thanks. But do you think they get hurricanes there? You think they're like storms are nasty?
Sides are clearly worth it. On Earth, the size of animals that breed.
Okay, but imagine a society that rides around on fucking dragonflies. That would be fucking dope. That would be so dude, could you imagine? You want to buzz over to your buddy's house, you hop on your, it's like hopping on a horse. You hop on your dragonfly and buzz over, literally.
Breathed by diffusion is limited, which might be a good thing for us, but on Hestia, all kinds of weird creatures can grow huge.
Yeah,
like
boss fight.
Megafans.
When me and the boys go out for a wild field boss fight. Your coming of age ceremony is you have to go hunt one of these beasts down with the rest of your your tribe's people. I don't know why we're like I don't know why we're back in like the tribes days and not advanced like we are today, but I don't make the rules here, man.
Dominating the largest continent. All that oxygen also lets animals have a faster metabolism and sustain higher activity levels. Predators hunt more explosively.
See, I'd have one of those things hunt for me. That's dope.
Prey flees more dynamically, especially in a completely new dimension conquered by life. Up. In Earth's thin atmosphere, flight costs a lot of energy, but in Hestia's super dense air, it's super cheap. Despite the higher surface gravity, animals need much smaller wings and less energy to stay afloat. Over billions of years,
I just know the rich people
need much smaller wings and less
would all own one of these motherfuckers. It's like, it would be like the modern day yacht. If you own one of these motherfuckers, bro. That, or they become like a zoo animal, you know? Or protected species. You never know. It becomes like the bald eagle of one of the archipelago islands. There are thousands of those islands, bro. Never mind. Now I've got convoluted.
Over billions of years, thousands of branches of Hestia's evolutionary tree have discovered flight, and the skies are full of flying animals of all sizes.
Archery would be the best. It'd be so fun, dude. Are you kidding me? You see what you think is a cloud out in the distance, you pull up. Doesn't matter where you shoot, bro. You're hitting. Doesn't matter where you shoot, bro. You're getting some. You're eating dinner. Bro, the competitions must have gone crazy.
Like
talking like this is whoa, what the fuck? That's cheating, bro. You can't do that. That's fucked up.
This sky whale shooting through the clouds, swallowing millions of tiny bird-like critters. Enormous as they are, they never touch the ground except to lay eggs, and when they die. The thick atmosphere also does another thing really well: transfer sound. Hestia is not a quiet place. Anywhere you are, animals are communicating, warning each other, or screaming.
Y'all ever go camping and hear something in the distance? Bro, it doesn't matter what it is. My levels of like fight or flight in those moments skyrocket. I could be dead asleep. The minute I hear like a coyote in the distance, bro, fuck no. Maybe I'm not built for camping, but like, shit's got me on high alert.
For mates. This created super weird adaptations, like hunters not trying to sneak up, but masking their direction of attack with disturbing and distracting.
Like the snap trapper from How to Train Your Dragon, bro. I know, Peak. Come on.
Noises. But we haven't even talked about the largest ecosystem. The best possible oceans. As many edges as possible.
How are they going to have the best possible oceans when we don't even know how good ours is, bro? We don't even know most of our ocean. What if we have the best possible ocean?
Possible. Earth's oceans make
We don't, bro. They're full of trash.
up most of its surface and are on average 3,700 meters deep. But sunlight can only reach 200 meters deep. This sunlight zone is the only place plankton, the basis for the food web, can turn sunlight into sugar. So it's where
So we have macaroni and sky whales in the sky, but we got
plankton
we got blue whales and like a genuine fish in the seas. These things have not mutated at all. so we created like crazy 8-winged, biblically accurate angel beings, but we just have blue whales in the ocean. What's next? Now I'm going to see a sea turtle at the bottom
the
here.
basis for the food web can turn sunlight into sugar, so it's where 90% of marine species live. 95% of the sea is in permanent darkness, much of it an abyssal desert. So we don't want Hestia to have as much water as Earth. We do want to cover most of its surface, but it should be shallow. Almost all of its oceans should be continental shelves 1 to 2.
Okay, that'd be dope. That'd be so cool. Imagine having a house on like stilts just out there, you know? Not too far off, but like just chilling. And like almost everything else is just like tidal high. You can pretty much walk. That'd be pretty sweet.
200 meters deep.
200 meters deep is not walking. That's not happening.
Virtually all of the ocean and its floor is a sunlight zone.
Yeah, so we get basic fish and jellyfish. Wait, that's a 4-eyed fish. Okay. We have one mutation, one scene mutation.
There are downsides.
Okay, maybe a couple extra fins around these guys. Okay,
To
never mind.
shallow
Okay,
oceans,
okay,
of course.
okay.
They heat and cool
give up.
faster, which creates stronger seasons and more storms. But again, disruptions drive life to specialize and make it more diverse. Hestia's oceans house breathtakingly vast ecosystems. Corals form living megacities.
Bro, could you imagine? Bro, the nightlife would go crazy. There's got to be like hella light up animals in this fucking area. I don't even know another word for that.
Stretching over thousands of kilometers, home to trillions of animals competing for real estate and forming complex relationships. Pseudo-crabs and fish lizards, and whatever this thing is supposed to be. Bordering the megacities are kelp and algae colonies.
What did that thing do to you? Why are we throwing shade at that thing? You've made a bunch of things that I feel like there were a lot more, a bunch of different species that like to discriminate against before that one. Let's go back to the macaroni shell in the sky.
Is filled with life like tropical rainforests. But there's another biodiversity supercharger, coastlines, where land and sea ecosystems meet. Nutrients mix, birds eat fish, and crocodiles hunt gorillas. Even if they occupy only 7% of the total marine area, they're home to more than half of marine life. Hestia's coastlines are 45 times longer than Earth's, creating niches for dozens of millions of species.
That's dope. I love a coast.
Mid-planet like Earth.
A nice beach, unmatchable. Unmatchable.
Earth hosts some 9 million complex species. Hestia, with its huge surface area, super habitable conditions, and sheer endless ecosystems, could hold hundreds of millions. What about intelligent life? Well, our perfect planet has so many ecosystems and opportunities that it would...
You know what? I take that back. A nice beach to me is probably a lot different than a nice beach to most people because I want the rocks. I want good skipping rocks when I'm at a beach. What can I say, man? At the end of the day, after whatever swimming activities I get up to, I can't just chill and skip a couple rocks. I don't want to be there. So there's got to be nice rocks for me to skip. Bring my own rock. Yeah.
probably develop sooner or later, maybe even multiple times at once. Imagine a planet where different alien civilizations exist in parallel, each with their own empires of stone and wood, maybe metal and silicon. How different would their perspective on living things and the nature of life be? Would they try to eradicate each other? respect nature more or less? On a planet where any wound you cut would be filled up in no time? What would they think of our desert planet with winters and ice, with a few specks of green? Would they look at space and say, no thank you, to planets that are so obviously inferior?
Isn't that a theory that aliens know of us but wouldn't want to come down and talk to us? Like, there's probably alien life. There's probably like hella alien life, but they are so advanced that we can't see them, but they can see us, and they don't want anything to do with us. Which, I mean, fair, totally fair, man. We're all a little dumb around here.
We don't know if a planet like Hestia exists, but it actually could.
I thought this was based off of... Okay, so this just goes back to the infinitely expanding universe. Like, it could exist.
Maybe among the quadrillions of planets in the universe, somewhere...
I know half y'all don't even know how big a quadrillion is, bro. After trillion, which is after billion. That's a quadrillion. It's crazy. And then we get into quintillion. Dude, we can go on forever.
Around a small and super stable orange dwarf, there's a place that's home to more life today than Earth has hosted in its entire history.
I hope so. I don't think my brain can rationalize with the fact that we are the only, I won't say sentient, like conscious. A lot of things are conscious, but I'm going to use conscious in the context of like, we are so aware of our beings in the moment and how we compare to the universe as a whole. If we're the only ones, bro, I don't even know what to do, bro. I wonder if we'll ever have Star Wars in the future. I'm always curious about that.
Here at Kurzgesagt, we know a thing or two about helping people learn. For instance, for most of human...
Oh, is this an ad for the rest of the thing? Yeah. Well, that was a pretty W video. I always like Kurzgesagt. Very large channel, 25.3 mil. Ooh. Ooh. W video. Like that. All right. Let us move on to video number 2. How a casual, humiliated 1,325 salty Yu-Gi-Oh players. I know next to nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh, but god damn it, did I want to see this video. So Squiddies, let me see how. Let's see this casual, humiliated 1,325 salty Yu-Gi-Oh players. There are a lot of salty Yu-Gi-Oh players, man. I mean, 1,325. Did they count them? What a specific number, man.
Decided to enter on a whim, basically, and I ended up winning.
This
Oh,
is
shit.
Marcus Henderson, a 16-year-old boy who...
Is Yu-Gi-Oh a chance-based game? Or can, like, is there always just, like, a chance that you could win based on, like, a dice roll or something? Or is it, like, more like chess, where everything is, like, calculated? I'm curious, man.
who has just performed the greatest upset in trading card game history, because he just won a 1,400-man Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship out of nowhere. Even more surprising was the fact that this was the first large...
Is that a Soul Rock back there? Oh, shit. This guy knows Peak. What else is over there? Is that BMO? Or BMO?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Event he had ever attended. A random kid who had never even won a local tournament would somehow embrace the heart of the cards to breeze through the top table.
Nah, that's tough. Nah, that's tough. Imagine his friends dared him to do this or something. He's like, and they found out he liked Yu-Gi-Oh! And they were like, bro, why don't you just like enter a tournament? He was like, oh, fuck, fine. He does, wins the whole thing. How'd you do that?
Humiliating pro players along the way, some of whom were...
It was his bully expecting him to like lose. Like, haha, you won that shit? What?
were so salty that they refused to shake the boy's hand.
Damn, bro. Bad sportsmanship. Bad sportsmanship.
after the match was over. You see, while his opponents used decks that cost thousands of dollars, Marquise instead scrounged together a deck using only cards that he could afford. But he would still somehow assemble a strategy that would completely counter the best decks in the metagame. Yet in the eyes of the elitist Yu-Gi-Oh community, not only was he a nobody, but he was piloting a mediocre, frustrating deck.
Did people actually say this? You're a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck. Bro, what are you scrounging about? Scrounging? Is that a word? Fuck. I don't know if I used that right. And I'm not checking.
That they thought was terrible. So
Scrounging is like digging around. That was not the right word. Bro, what are you waffling about?
just how did he manage to conquer all odds and win a Yu-Gi-Oh championship? Well, allow me to explain. Our story starts in the year 2012, where Marquise is a freshman in high school, playing Yu-Gi-Oh casually with his friends during lunch. Though highly popular, Yu-Gi-Oh is one of the most expensive.
What? $1,500? Hello? What the fuck? Are these like... Are Yu-Gi-Oh cards in any way alike with like Pokemon cards in the way that you can rip them from packs? Or do you have to buy them like singularly? Or like the packs are all the same, you know? Like you buy a battle pack. Or can you rip randoms? Because like 900, 725, 900, 13, 1500.
Trading card games. Rare cards were frequently short printed, creating artificial.
Oh shit, they are. Okay.
Staple cards.
They are actually random packs. Is it a dresser?
Needed for each deck, costing hundreds of dollars on the secondary market. Needless to say, it was difficult for anyone to acquire these powerful cards, never mind a boy in high school who had bigger priorities to save for, like hot lunch and Jordans. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh was also one of the most complex games, often with rules that weren't written anywhere in the official rulebook.
Bro, what? Bro, what? Bro, what? You gonna make rules and not put them in a rule book and then expect people to play these games, bro? Oh, no. That pissed me off. I roll up to my first Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, right? I got my cards. I'm ready to battle. I'm ready to fucking do whatever. I'm ready to swing on them. Bro, it's like my turn. I place down my card. I think I'm fucking doing shit. I don't know how this game runs, so bear with me here. And bro just looks at me and goes, well, actually, and spouts some bullshit that I can't find in no book. Bro, I'm not believing you. I'm not believing you. There's no way you're telling the truth to me. No way you're telling the truth to me in any form.
Because of these reasons, despite the game being marketed towards children, the average tournament would still comprise mainly of adults in their 20s and 30s. So being only 16 years old certainly made things a lot harder.
A 16-year-old whoops your 30-year-old ass in a fucking card game. And you don't have the balls to shake his hand? You're a loser.
Now, Marquise would learn from his friends that there was a local card store in their area that hosted Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments every Saturday, with a flood of eager duel.
He was saying kids don't play these games. Look at all these kids, bro. They're playing these games. Dang! They got tables full of these people. Is that a napkin dispenser? Are they allowed to eat at the table? Bro, what if you get ketchup on your card, man? It's no longer $1,300 anymore.
Occupying every square foot of this.
I'm sure you're not playing with a 13. You think they play with those cards? There's got to be collectors and players, kind of like how Pokemon has. Well, nobody really plays Pokemon. They play the games, not the card game.
Though he consistently attended these tournaments for months, he would never win a single one.
I wasn't even really playing, but for like a year and a half, I just kind of started. But yeah, I'd never won locals before. I've been playing just with my friends and stuff like that.
Being a big city, the players in his local scene in Atlanta were much more skilled and had the budget to play the most powerful decks. Yet with each and every tournament, Marquise would slowly improve.
So it's a pay to win. Kind of lame. Kind of lame.
After school, he would go online to research the metagame on forums and watch videos to learn the combos. Outside of drumline and basketball, Yu-Gi-Oh! Had quickly become his favorite hobby. While his skills were no doubt improving, being a high school student, he still didn't have access to the game's strongest cards. Popular decks at the time included
Rescue Rabbit? What does
the
it do,
Dino
bro?
Rabbit strategy, which leveraged the cuddly Rescue Rabbit to summon out 2 normal dinosaurs that could be combined into the Evolzerlagia and Doka.
What the fuck? 2 level 4 dinosaur type monsters. During either player's turn, when a monster effect activates, you can attach 1 XYZ material from this card. What the fuck is an XYZ material? Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. What? What does that mean?
To negate card and monster effects. It would go toe-to-toe with the wind-ups, a combo deck that could set up an army of toys.
Photon Pap Wow, this is really stumping me. Papillop bro. Papilloperative. Wow, bro. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, but bro, that was a fucking tongue twister. Wind up carrier Zen matey. Yeah, bro, you place that down, you place down wind up carrier Zen matey. Homie. What?
And rip away the opponent's hand.
Wait, okay, this art's kind of cool. Wind up shark. I fuck with that. Okay, wait, maybe I kind of fuck with this art. Is that Empress of Light?
On the first turn, with a loop that involved recycling the wind-up hunter over and over again. But they made these decks really hard to put together. Their signature cards were printed in the highest rarity, secret rare, which meant you would be lucky to even pull 1 out of a box of 36 booster packs.
Okay, these arts are kind of cool. I might have to buy me a Yu-Gi-Oh card pack just for the arts, man. I keep my own Pokemon collection. I got some Pokemon cards. Check this shit out. Yeah. Tough, ain't it? But I might buy some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because if I pull something cool out of them, I might have to just pick a favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card.
To give you an example, Rescue Rabbit
Definitely like poser shit at me, but like, you know, whatever. Man doesn't care.
and Evolzer Doka were both $80 each, and
If I start pulling Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I promise to my stream right now I will learn the game. Because I don't want to do that poser shit. I will learn the game if I buy a pack. Will I be any good at it? I don't know. Probably not. But I will play at least one game on stream.
cards like Wind-Up Zen mains were $150. And most of the time you could play up to 3 copies of a given card, so if you multiply that, it was pretty ridiculous even by modern day standards. But it gets worse, because there were 2 cards that were so powerful, every single deck would have to play them. Tour Guide from the Underworld was a generic monster.
When this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 level 3 fiend monster from your hand or deck, but negate its effects. Also cannot be used as synchro material. Yeah, whatever synchro material is, man.
That summoned Sangan from the deck, who could then search for all of the other deck's signature monsters when he was sent to the graveyard. But it also spawned 2 bodies for an instant XC summon, like Levier the Sea Dragon to revive Rescue Rabbit, or Wind Up Zen Mighty to summon out any Wind Up. And 3 copies of Tour Guide cost $450 because of its secret rarity, and of course, the waifu tax. Then there was Max C, a shiny bug that let the user draw.
You think there are people going into that? Damn, bro. Probably. Oh, the dressers are back.
draw a card for every summon the opponent conducted on a given turn. A mandatory counter to heavy combo decks like the windups, and one of the only ways to circumvent the turn 1 hand loop when going second.
And here comes the infamous loop, folks.
It's ironically still one of the most powerful cards in modern day, which justifies its $100 price tag at the time.
Wait, did bro just surrender? Wait, run that back.
A mandatory counter to heavy combo decks like the windups, and one of the only ways to circumvent the turn 1 hand loop when going second.
And here comes the infamous loop, folks.
Can I scoop? It is like scooping up your cards. Can I just scoop? I bet you that is what it's for. Man,
It's ironically still one of the most powerful cards in modern day, which justifies its $100 price tag at the time. In total,
okay. If it's still the most powerful in the game today, why is it only worth 100? We were looking at $1,300 price tags earlier. 900. It didn't drop below 750 on that list of cards we saw earlier. So why is that one $100?
this meant that you would have to spend well over $1,000 to build a solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Without these staple cards, you
Yeah, I ain't building no goods Yu-Gi-Oh deck. But if I could find some fucking loophole,
were basically put at a significant disadvantage. A barrier that many players would struggle with at the time, and honestly that kind of continues to this day. Marquise would obviously feel a little discouraged, knowing that this was an issue that he and his friends had faced. But one day in their group chat, one of Marquise's friends excitedly
I think it's worth watching the Yu-Gi-Oh show. I never watched the show. I low-key just remembered that there was a Yu-Gi-Oh show. It's been showing clips this whole time. I never watched the Yu-Gi-Oh show. I don't know if that's crazy to say.
shared an idea. A deck that had somehow won the national championship the year prior out of nowhere. It was a TG stun deck.
My friend showed me, he's like, oh, like this deck is cheap, you can play this deck. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
A strategy that leveraged using trap cards to stun the opponent out from playing. Like Skill Drain, which as the name would imply, negated all monster effects on the field.
Skill Drain stops everything. And in my head, I was like, I didn't know too much. I was like reading all the cards, I'm like,
wait, bro is just stall maxing? Like like in Pokemon Showdown, when you get a stall team going and then you just like drain out the opponent, just like 50 rounds in, 200 rounds into Pokemon Showdown, just a stall team. That's kind of funny. You're sitting there just rage baiting a 30-year-old because his cards can't do anything.
is this not the best card in the game?
Now, the whole concept of the TG deck was to stun out the opponent using the trap cards, while the Tech Genis monsters would replace themselves when they were destroyed in combat, creating a cycle of near infinite resources while whittling down the opponents using the traps. And since these effects activated in the graveyard, they were unaffected by Skill Drain, which only negated monster effects on the field.
This deck is like great. Like this is the one I just win the most with. I just played so much with it. Played it for like 5 or 6 months, just that one deck.
Marquise quickly jumped onto the idea. The cards were relatively cheap for the most part and easily accessible. The only problem with this deck was that its competitiveness was rather short-lived. By this time, it had since been outclassed by newer cards and excessive power creep that was difficult for trap-based decks to keep up with, especially when going second.
How do you... Whoops, I did not mean to mute, man. That was harsh. How do you keep up with this shit, right? Like every time a card pack drop, do you gotta read all of those descriptions and figure out how they can play with all of the card decks you've been playing with, bro? Like, who's thinking of this shit? Who's got the time?
Deck had been dropped by the rest
That's like genuinely insane. That's like some next level shit. That's impressive.
of the player base. But Marquise would continue
Holy
playing
shit, we're
TGs.
5 minutes
It
into this.
became his signature deck, and he
I've been
strove
yapping.
to make it even better, making tweaks to it day by day. This would continue for the next few months, and as time passed, Marquise would eventually participate in regional tournaments. These were events on a larger scale that would attract stronger opponents, often a few hundred, who would travel from other cities in hopes of placing in the top percentile to receive an invite to the national championship held at the end of the year. His best finish at these regionals would be a 7-3 final record, a career highlight.
7 wins, 3 losses with that deck. Those are some good stats, buddy.
An impressive feat on paper, but not exactly notable in the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene, for you would typically need a 9-1 record to place in the top 8 and receive prizing. So naturally, no one in the competitive scene would know the name Marquise Henderson, never mind even in his own local area. But just a few months later, this would change completely. It It was soon announced that Atlanta
Wait, bro played 10 games in a local in a local tournament, won 7 of them, lost 3 of them, went home and was like, "All right, let's go big. Let's go big." We signed up for that national tourney right now. We going 70 and 30 now with them stats, 70 and 30.
would be the host city for the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series.
With 1,300 people, that's more like 700 and 300. Could you imagine playing that many games? I don't even think chess people do that many games.
The most competitive tournament at the highest
Like in a single tournament, I don't think there are chess tournaments that big, are there?
peak of the game that would draw over 1,000 duelists, including notable pro players who dominated the tournament circuit. Now, Marquise was rather unfamiliar with championship-level tournaments. His familiarity with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Was limited mostly to
Bro actually just stepped into the big league. He said, "All right, let's go pro. Let's go pro. Let's go big league."
his area, with regional tournaments being the extent of what he had experienced. So when his friends told him about YCS Atlanta, he figured it'd be the size of regionals with 100 players or 2 at most. But he had no idea that this would be so
Do you see the fucking size of this place, bro? Are you serious? This is enormous. There are so many people here. What the fuck? Looks like one of them, like the China cram schools. You ever see them? They kind of giving off the same vibes, but this is insane. They got security in blue watching over these games, making sure they're not cheating. I think they're armed.
something far
Or could you imagine armed guards walking around in a Yu-Gi-Oh? Honestly, with 1,300 people showing up to a tournament, there's got to be some type of security. Like there has to be. That's insane. Hello.
greater than you would have ever imagined.
But
My friend just told me about this event. Like, I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought it was like 50, 100 people. My dad, the first day I went to the event, YCS, he's like chilling in the freaking convention center. He's like, "Oh yeah, we can go to the convention center. I'll go with you."
On the Friday of the tournament, his dad would drive him to the venue to pick up their entry badges. And only upon entering would he be shocked by the sheer scale of the event. Instead of a few hundred players, there was well over 1,000.
There was like 1 million people running around. I'm like, I don't even want to enter. He's like,
all right, bro. It wasn't 1 million people, bro. We just got the numbers. 1,000, bro. 1 million. Come on. Not got a big game.
"You have to enter. We're already here." I'm like, "Okay, I'll enter."
A robust hall filled with the
Just goes to show anybody who gets in front of a camera really blows up the story. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
most competitive, daring challengers, many of whom had ventured from the opposite side of the country to
Damn.
test their skills.
I used to go to like robotics. I used to go to like a robotics. I was never a part of the club, but my dad was the coach for a robotics club, and sometimes I'd go with him and the team to the robotics like competitions. That's kind of what it looked like. It kind of looked like
Many of whom had ventured
just a bunch of engineers walking around. It's actually kind of cool. Some people had some really, really dope robots that were obviously going to dominate the entire competition. It wasn't even funny.
from the
Like our team was okay. It wasn't terrible. I don't think they were that bad, but they weren't the greatest.
opposite side of the country to test their skills. You see, the winners of this tournament in particular would receive the coveted Blood Mephist prize card that to this day sells for thousands of dollars. Unlike the other prize cards, and for reasons unknown, the Blood Mephist has never been reprinted. Rumors say it's due to legal reasons with the card's original artist, meaning that the only copies of the card in existence to this very day were the limited copies given out to the winners of
No
these tournaments,
fucking
making
way.
it
That's
now
crazy.
one of the rarest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh history. So naturally, there was a big prize.
So I can't pull it.
at stake. But before the tournament had even begun, these players had already activated their strongest card, the credit card. The vendors were completely overwhelmed, with players swiping left and right, forced to pay premiums on last-minute cards that they
Holy
needed for
shit.
competition.
300,
Most of them were using Dino Rabbit or windups, with a few other decks in between that were equally as pricey.
Could you imagine being like a 40-year-old dude who doesn't really care about Yu-Gi-Oh, but bought it when he was a kid, so he has a bunch of cards laying around? You look at today's meta and you just go, oh, oh shit. Because you got like 20 of these things just laying around because they were like 25 cents when you were a kid. You're just laying on a landmine of cash.
Luckily for Marquise, the expensive cards in his TG deck, like Pot of Duality and Solemn Warning, had already been reprinted.
Is that God? Yo, how are you supposed to beat that card? That's literally God.
The year prior, costing only a few dollars instead of hundreds. But nevertheless, he still wanted to make important additions to his deck where possible. With only $40 left to his name, Max C was out of the equation, certainly putting him at a disadvantage, especially when going second, and he would perhaps be the only player in the entire hall that was not playing the card. But at the same time, he had a feeling inside that for his trap-heavy deck, he wouldn't need it. And you know, saving $300 didn't seem like a bad idea either. Instead, Marquise walked up to the vendors and decided to finally splurge on a lone copy of Bryanak, Dragon of the Ice Bear.
That's a dope card. Like if you pulled that, oh, it's limited edition. If I pulled that in a deck, I'd keep that shit. I'm putting that in a case. I'm never opening another deck again. I don't need to, bro. Like that's dope.
A card that wasn't necessary for the deck at all, but could be made in niche scenarios with a TG Striker, and was another step to optimizing his deck into the strongest it could possibly be for the tournament the next day.
I spent my last $40 on the Bryanak that I needed for my deck.
His last $40. It's just a lucky card, and bro just wins the tournament because of it.
I summoned it once, but it won me the game, so it's freaking worth it.
Bro actually just did that. I was just spouting on my ass, but bro actually just did that.
Lastly, in place of the Max C, he opted instead to run 2 copies of the Beast King Barbaros, a card that had never seen play before. Though printed as a level 8 with an attack value of
Bro's bringing in new metas. That's crazy.
3000, Beast King had an effect that would allow its user to drop its attack to 1900 and normal summon it without tributing any monsters. But while Skill Drain was on the field, it would negate this drawback completely and restore its attack back to 3000, threatening even the Blue Eyes White Dragon. His deck would maximize the full capacity of Skill Drain, a card whose potential he recognized early on. Thunder King Ryle would stun the opponent from searching their deck for cards, while Horn of the Phantom Beast boosted his beast monsters and let him draw a card each time the monster trampled over an opposing one by...
Holy shit, bro was actually the ultimate stall team. You couldn't look through your own deck. You couldn't get any OP monsters out there because then they'll just die. None of your cards worked. Bro, that's some bullshit.
battle. And last but not least,
Can I scoop?
Reborn Tengu was a pesky beast warrior who could be powered up by the horn and also replace itself when it was removed from the field. In total, his deck would cost just over $100, and most of the players in the hall would scoff at the idea of this deck being remotely competitive, until day one of the tournament kicked off.
Bro goes 1,324-0. That'll go crazy.
Which would start off extremely well for Marquise Henderson, who jump-started his event with 6
Does he have a calculator? What is happening down here? Is this a calculator? What do you need a calculator for in Yu-Gi-Oh? What am I calculating?
which
Are my attacks multiplied in times? Also, dope pads, bro. These little playing card pads are dope.
would start off extremely well for Marquise Henderson, who jump-started his event with 6 wins and 0 losses, with his friends
See, he's about to go undefeated.
shocked beyond belief. Marquise was completely locked in.
I ended up going 6-0, and that's when I was like, what the heck? So
He would only drop his first match in round 7 to an empty jar deck, another rogue strategy that relied on decking out the opponent by looping the morphing jar over and over again.
and then I lost round 7 to very like insane opponent. I'm like sitting here like reading, like, is this work? It's like, yeah, this works. So this freaking empty jar guy, I even flipped skill drain on him, and he's literally still like killing me through skill drain. Like flip up and then I'll chain book a moon. Okay, now it's face down. I'll dump your hand again. I was like, what? What are you talking about?
But outside of this, all of his
Right, because he's a beginner. He's like low-key a beginner. Okay, bro, could you imagine playing for the first time and bro's just flipping it over and flipping it over again and flipping it over and flipping it over again and going like, your guy's dead. Oh, that guy's dead. Oh, that you took damage now. Oh, you're dead now. I win. Let me go. Like, I'd be pissed, bro. I'd be pissed. It's like playing chess, but the opponent gets to go the whole time. When do I get a turn?
other opponents had utilized powerful meta decks, and some of these opponents became perturbed, for Marquise would have to read a lot of their cards, which agitated.
Hey man, can I make sure that that works? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, very interesting. And so when you flip, let me see that card. Uh-huh. Oh, I see. So when that flips, oh, so when you flip it over, it turns over that card gets discarded. Okay, so when you place this one, how does that? Right, and so, wait, let me see the original card again. You just keep doing that, bro. They just leave. They're like, God, bro. Can't play with this guy. He knows too little.
Them even further because this dude was going around playing a frustrating rogue deck, but also reading the popular cards that they would have expected him to know with a 6-0 record at a major tournament like this. And both his opponents and the judges were especially shocked to find that Marquise wasn't familiar with the combos and rulings that they thought were.
How am I supposed to understand that, bro? That's in a whole different language. I ain't reading those rule books either.
Basic.
When I say I wasn't really like that into the game, like I hadn't played for that long, like the judge had to explain me for like a minute or two about like the rulings of wind up shark and wind up magician. So I'm like, how does that work? And I'm like, I don't know, whatever. I had to.
Bro spent 2 minutes, got a 2-minute intermission. You're like, how do these two cards work together? All right, pause the game. So they're like the last table. The tournament's like long over. Everyone else has gone home. All the seats are empty. The janitor's rolling by. The lights are turning off. They're still explaining this combo to him. He's like, I don't understand, man.
I read a lot of the cards. Yeah, like it's just a lot. Like I didn't know like wind up shark and wind up magician. So I'm like, how does that work? And I'm like, I don't know, whatever. I had to read a lot of the cards. Yeah, like it's just a lot. Like I didn't know like dueling was that much.
It also pissed him off even further that he was flipping cards like skill drain that nullified their.
That's so weird to me because that means he had to have just like been oblivious to the tournament scene as a whole, for the whole community. And like not watch any YouTube videos. I feel like when I get into a hobby, I watch a few YouTube videos. So I'm like, oh, I want to know more. Like I want to see more of this, and I like obsess over it a little bit, you know? The fact that he was just like, I don't know, I just do this on the weekends, bro. W hobby.
Expensive cards.
Some people didn't like the deck because obviously you just like stun your opponent, stuff like that. Yeah, it is what it is. Like obviously I drew the right traps very often, drew skill drain a lot.
These players were completely shocked, and word of mouth spread pretty quickly. Online chatter slowly begun with rumors of an unknown duelist who was playing in his first ever YCS with a budget version of an outdated deck idea that pissed off the pro players at the top tables. While many reveled in the chaos and cheered Marquise on, others were less than optimistic. Some of the pro players at the event even refused to shake his hand after the match, as they were extremely salty about the prospect of losing to such a player, and a deck that locked them down from playing. Never mind one that was full of cheap, low rarity cards.
I don't know if he appreciated like, I just kept drawing skill drain. I kept drawing freaking skill drain, and he actually MST'd when I flipped another one in response. So I just have freaking 2 skill drains. He killed when I just have another one. So he was mad about that.
Marquise would play against several opponents utilizing the Dino Rabbit deck.
Yeah, what? How are you going to be mad about that, but then your meta deck is going to do the exact same thing, right? Like, what's the other meta deck? You're flipping him up, or flipping one up and then flipping it back down, flipping it up and flipping it back down. Like, bro, at least he's drawing cards. Like, I feel like the meta, you can't be mad at somebody who's one, beating the meta, because good for them. Damn. But two, like, doing the same thing as you, bro.
A matchup that he found to be favorable midway throughout the tournament. He would set as many trap cards as possible and then use skill drain to lock out their signature Evolzar monsters.
What I was most afraid of was the Dino Rabbit deck, because they can just like, it's like a free negate. I'm like, oh well, you can't even get around that. There's nothing you can do. I didn't even know what Dino Rabbit did at the time. I was scared of it. Some of the matches were just like brain dead easy. It wasn't even me. It was just like a good meta choice.
And at this point, you're probably wondering how he did so well. I mean, it's his
You think their deck's already combating this one just because this kid just steamrolled a tourney?
first major tournament. He's picking up cards to read them. His opponents are frustrated. What was the secret sauce that Marquise had implemented? Well, for starters, none of his opponents were really prepared, and many of their decks would lack adequate trap removal or ways to counter skill drain. You see, a lot of these players weren't
Everyone was setting up for something big, a big attack, you know. Everyone was setting up for some big, like, hatchet, giant axe to cut down the tree, and nobody was expecting the bear trap along the way, literally along the way, and they didn't know what to do, man.
even playing Mystical Space Typhoon, which was a classic way to destroy a spell and trap card. In its place, they instead elected to play high-impact hand disruption
Is that Hatsune Miku?
cards that could be used on the first turn to try and stop the opponent from comboing, like Effect Veiler to negate the wind-up combo. And ironically, these cards happen to be absolutely useless against Marquise's TG stun deck, which neither summoned a lot of monsters nor utilized their effects.
Because no one really cares about like the trap decks back then. Like, at least in that specific event, a lot of people just didn't even play MST, and I don't think some
They abbreviate.
of them cited it. It was kind of smooth sailing if you just get that up, and it was like you can stun your opponent, because a lot of people didn't see it coming.
Since no one was prepared for it, this meant that skill drain was there to stay on Marquise's field, allowing him to ultimately finish with an impressive 9-2 final record.
Called my dad, I was like, oh yeah, you're just going to play in the tournament, have fun, whatever. And I called him after like round 9, I was like, oh, I think I have to come back. I think I have to come back to this. And he's like, why? I'm like, well, there's like a day 2. And I guess like I made the day 2. He's like, okay, we'll come back.
Also, if you guys are
That's so tough. Dad. Dude, if you dropped your son off at like a card game tourney, maybe you're not that into it. You go home, you're like, whatever. He rings you back up. He's like, Dad, I gotta come back. Like they got a round 2. I made it to round 2. I'd be like, dude, no fucking way. Bro, I'm pulling up. We're watching this together. I'm sitting next to you, son. Bro, we're watching this shit together, bro. You going all the way. I'm cheering you all the way, bro.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and top 32 players would face off in a sudden death playoff bracket to ultimately decide the winner of the tournament. And in 12th place was none other than Marquise Henderson. His friends erupted in cheers. Marquise had done the impossible. He had made the top cut of a tournament with almost 1,400 players and defeated multiple pro players along the way with his own unique strategy.
That's so tough.
But his job wasn't done yet. He still had more Yu-Gi-Oh! To play. His top 32 and top 16 matches would be against Alistair Albanes and Michael Lux, 2 pro players with dozens of prior accolades. The former with the second Albanes and Michael Lux.
Why does this guy have like movie setting level lighting? Playing with like a backdrop and everything. And then you just took this guy's photo at a con, bro.
2 pro
Couldn't find a better picture of him.
Prior accolades. The former with the second place championship finish, and the latter a first place champion. Both players were using
W?
Rabbit, which skill drain and a plethora of traps would take care of.
I was in the top cut, and they like rope off the freaking place for you for like the duelist to play. Had me, and I'm like looking at the concession, so that I won, like, oh, can I go over there? And he's like, no, you can't go any. You gotta freaking stay here and do. I'm like, oh, this is freaking serious. Like, what the heck?
Bro, can I go get a choni and some water, bro? No, you have to play. You have to play this game. You can't get up. You can't stand up. Just shit in that chair. Piss in the chair. Bro, just let him go get a choni, bro. Let him go get his Gatorade. It's got to be intense playing these Yu-Gi-Oh matches.
I can't believe they're like keeping tabs on you. I was like, okay.
On an empty stomach.
You think they were cheating? You think they cheated on the way over? You think people cheated? Look, you feel like enter a deck Like when you go in, do you have to enter the deck that you're using and you can't change your deck for anybody's meta?
Top 8 would be an uphill battle, for his opponent, John Oxendine, would utilize a windup strategy that could
Is this on a boat? Yo, why is this guy balling?
spell doom for Marquise if he went second. Like I mentioned earlier, the deck had a signature turn 1 combo that could discard nearly every single card in Marquise's hand before he even had a turn to play, especially because his deck lacked the one defensive card that could refill his hand to prevent this, Max C. But luckily for Marquise, he would win the die roll and go first, setting up skill drain, which was more than enough to stop the windups from, well, winding up.
I did like go second against a lot of wine, and they just didn't have hand. Again, I just lucky. I don't know what the statistics of that are.
Narrowly avoiding disaster thanks to a little bit of luck with the dice roll, the semi
Oh, so there was like a setup that went against him. Just everyone didn't use that setup because it was a lame meta. Right? Why are you gonna be salty about that? You know, like your deck was almost there, bro. You just had to swap out a card.
final match would once again test his fortune. It was another wind-up opponent, a pro player by the name of Anthony Pasquarello. Now, Anthony's deck actually played 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, and though Marquise would open the dice roll once again with a set skill drain, Anthony would open with both copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, but the rest of his hand didn't contain any monsters, allowing Marquise to simply beat him down. Even more interesting was the fact that Anthony had anticipated the existence of rogue trap decks, and to account for this even further, he would also side deck copies of Royal.
Wow, this dude had a deck in case he came across a trap deck. Didn't use it, and his OG deck failed him. That sucks. That sucks.
Royal Decree, a continuous trap card that negated the effects of all other trap cards. And in the second game, he would open with a copy of Royal Decree and Mystical Space Typhoon, the perfect cards to counter Marquise's strategy. But just like in the first game, the rest of his hand was rather weak, with a lone wind-up rabbit as his only line of offense, which wasn't the card he needed to initiate the wind-up hand loop combo. And not only this, but Marquise would top deck his own copy of Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy the Royal Decree, allowing him to set up his army of trap cards and ultimately win the match.
Wow.
Marquise's Guardian Angel was evidently working overtime. Ironically, Hanse Aguero, the winner of Nationals a year prior and the pioneer of the TG stun deck, yes, the very man who Marquise got his idea from in the first place, would also make the top cut with Dino Rabbit. But he
If they're under the same deck, dude, they both stall in the tourney, the game just never ends. Bro, could you imagine? It's just stun locked.
would be knocked out early by another player, so the two wouldn't cross paths.
Aw.
But he would give Marquise a few motivational words for what would be the most important match in his entire life, the finals. His opponent would be the last remaining Dino Rabbit player in the tournament, and the stakes
Feels like he's been playing the same deck this whole time. Maybe 2 variations, but like 1,300 people and 90% of them play this stupid rabbit technique. Terrible idea, bro.
were higher
Toji solos.
than ever.
The guy in the finals, his name was Roman Rodriguez. I still freaking remember him. Great opponent. It was a great duel. He actually said in the middle, he's like, don't take my picture. And the staff was like, well, we need a picture. He's like, no, I don't do picture. So like, you won't find a picture of him anywhere. So had he come in first, you actually wouldn't have a picture of the winner at all.
Miraculously, Marquise would go first yet again and set up the deck's most optimal opening play.
Bro's winning these coin flips to go first, man. That's lucky, man.
A Beast King Barbaros backed behind 4 powerful trap cards, with, you guessed it, one of them being Skill Drain. But the icing on top was a Starlight Road that would protect his field from being wiped away by Roman's Heavy Storm. In the second game, with his back against the wall staring down his worst nightmare in the form of 2 Ovosarlagias, he would somehow top deck a Pot of Duality.
Excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and add one of them to your hand. Also, after that, shuffle the rest back into your deck.
Revealing the top 3 cards of his deck to add one to his hand.
I used 2 traps, bait 2 negates, but I'm still like dying. Did you
I have no idea what that means.
quality? And I got Dark Hole. I freaking cleared it. So like, it was like the double Agia, like the thing I was most afraid of. I ended up like somehow getting out of that. It was so lucky.
With the last revealed card miraculously being the Dark Hole that he needed to wipe
Bro, what is this card? Bro, are we serious? Dark Hole. Destroy all monsters on field. What the fuck are you supposed to do against that? Genuinely, tell me. You pull this card out. Bro, what am I supposed to do? All my monsters are dead. Just instantly? That's lame.
Wipe away his opponent's entire board. This was a game-winning move that would raise a trophy and the Blood Mephist into the air by the newly crowned champion of YCS Atlanta, Marquise Henderson.
I'm Marquise Henderson.
Speak a little louder, bro.
I'm Marquise Henderson. I just decided to enter on a whim, basically. I decided to enter with TD Stun, and I ended up winning.
Like, I didn't even like realize.
Bro said that nonchalantly, like he didn't just like go on the most insane winning streak with just such a basic deck. That's insane.
After I won, I was so locked in at the end of the day. I was like, at the end of like the finals, I was like, I don't know, like I didn't know what to do. I was like, we're still no more dueling. Like I actually was just in the thick of it. Now I called my dad. I was like, I ended up winning.
With word of his victory, the entire Yugi net erupted. While the reaction was generally positive, many people couldn't fathom that a nobody had won such a prestigious.
The Connect 4 champion that never won a local won the YCS using a TG. Interesting. Bro thought he's an industry plant. Oh, now there's a theory. There's a theory I can get behind. He's an industry plant. Sorry.
His tournament, especially a first-timer, and of course with a strategy that no one felt was playable. Now, funny enough, there would be another TG stun deck in the top 32 alongside Marquise, propelling the deck to finally be respected once more. But the pros were angry. They felt that Marquise's deck building was suboptimal. He had played a budget-friendly alternative to the optimal build, foregoing important metagame cards like Max C.
Bro's trying to budget max. What do you mean it wasn't optimal? Of course it wasn't optimal. He was budget maxing, bro. Budget maxing. Yeah, not making that big. Not making that big. Budget maxing.
That, in their opinion, was a non-negotiable. It was the only way of winning against windups when going second. Beyond that, they also said his ratios were incorrect, like playing one lone copy of Solemn Warning.
That makes no sense. Bad deck building. Bro, he just started. Of course it's going to be bad. I hate when communities are like that, bro. It's like, why are you even doing this? Bro, right? Like, every community is going to have that guy. I know every community has that guy. But Jesus Christ, if you live in a society, all of us, when somebody's bad at something or starting to learn something, bro, help them. Bro, you remember when you were learning? Might have been 5. You might have been young. You might have learned it young. But that doesn't mean you didn't learn. Doesn't mean you weren't bad at some point. Just hate when people have be a dick about it. Bro, I don't want to play no more. Like, you're the problem.
One of the most powerful trap cards in the game that could negate any summon. Then they molded at the fact that Marquise had side decked 3 copies of Des Wombat, a card that was played for the sole purpose
Any damage to you from a card effect becomes 0.
of countering burn decks.
All right, nobody probably knows what this card is.
What the hell is this, man? Read this, please. Go ahead, continue.
No effect damage.
Really hate burn. I never sided him because I never played chamber, which I'm so happy about. You didn't play too much windup.
Except that burn decks were rogue in particular, and it was highly unlikely that anyone
Bro's just prepping for the apocalypse. You never knew, man. You never knew. What if they played a burn card?
had entered a championship tournament with one, meaning Marquise had effectively wasted 3 critical slots in his 15.
To be fair, this guy's never done a professional setting game. His local teams probably have burn decks. His local people probably have burn decks. So he was probably prepped for that. Again, this dude walked in thinking it was 50 to 100 people. He walked into 1,300.
Card side deck to account for a non-competitive deck that he'd encountered once or twice at locals. But it gets even worse. One popular rumor would spread online saying that
What the fuck? Oh, hell no. Bro.
Marquise was
Bro, he's just a dude.
was autistic, which wasn't true at all, but okay.
It's actually funny. During the tournament, they did start a rumor that I was autistic, and like, oh, this autistic kid won the event. It's like great, blah blah. And it's freaking. I thought it was funny, but no, I'm not autistic anyway. But they started that rumor.
Their only way of rationalizing that
He kind of speaks like Wisdom K. Does anybody hear that? He kind of speaks like Wisdom K. They kind of speak similarly.
Marquise had won was a possibility of him being a savant, someone who had become a Yu-Gi-Oh genius overnight. Some would accuse him of cheating, saying that the only plausible explanation.
Bro, he got lucky. Like, I don't think it was cheating. I don't think he's a savant. I think he just got lucky that he was in that tournament and playing that deck. I think that was just like a once in a lifetime lucky event. Never again is that going to be like, that'll never happen again. That just simply will never happen again.
Was sleight of hand or rigging of the game, and not talent. After all, he had cheating, saying that the only plausible explanation was sleight of hand or rigging of the game and not talent. After all, he had completely shaken up the expectations of what should have won. In their eyes, only a pro player should have been able to win.
I think that's dumb. I think the rookie can always win. But even more so, he went 7-3 in his last tournament. 70% win rate is insane. Insane. He has a little bit of history of winning, man. It's not like it's out of the ordinary.
And using a deck that cost thousands of dollars. A lot of players online would complain about Marquise getting extremely lucky, almost uncharacteristically.
So what if he did? So what if he got lucky? That happened. Oh no.
One commenter would say, just gonna throw this out there, but the two feature matches they put up, his opponents had pretty bad hands, and he had outs to everything. Dude has Yugi level luck. He would frequently win the dice roll and go first, which was the crucial way of winning with a trap deck that could set up an army of defensive options before the opponent got a chance to play. They explored every possible...
Could you imagine this guy, like, they do a coin toss? This guy's got, like, minor telekinetic power. And so every time it was just like tails. What was that, dude? Nothing.
Angle to discredit Marquise's victory, but at the same time, others would defend him. Excited that...
What is this PFP, bro? Is this Thanos, but like Ultron? Thanos Ultron mix? That's crazy.
A rogue strategy had won the event, piloted by a new player who had put the rich and the mighty in their place, showing everyone that Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't just about activating the credit card.
I think way more people were just like, hey, listen, like this is a cool deck. You know, I didn't expect to win. This is a nice thing that happened. So honestly, it was way more positive than negative. People came up after it's like, oh, I really want to play this deck. I think this deck is cool.
Ironically, after his victory, many
Everyone gets on the trap deck at base, bro. That sucks.
players even adapted and would begin playing the TG Stun deck. If a 16-year-old kid who had never entered a championship could win with an incomplete build, then the deck had certainly outperformed in some capacity. This was short-lived, however, as the deck was almost immediately hit on the ban list, with both TG Striker and
You can ban decks.
Tengu.
Okay, that's fucked up. Maybe that's not fucked up because the whatever flipping thing was insane that happened early in the video, but there's got to be some leagues where these decks are legal. Because I want to know what the best deck is. Everything legal. I want to know what the best deck is.
Two of the deck's main monsters being restricted, though not necessarily due to the TG Stun deck, for both of these cards were also abused in other decks around the same time, catching it in the crossfire.
But yeah, that was literally my first big event. The stars aligned. That's all I'll say. The stars aligned. I tried to play well, but it was a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh going on. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh moments. But that was the only YCS I ever entered, and I ended up winning.
At the end of the day, it seems that all the stars would align for Marquise to win the championship on that fateful weekend. A combination of fortune, his opponents being unprepared, and the power of skill drain were all factors that played into this. But regardless, his skill was what mattered the most. No matter how lucky you get, you still have to be extremely good at the game to win a championship of 1,400
That's
players.
true.
But all of this would come together perfectly to allow him to achieve the greatest monumental feat in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh history. Nevertheless,
You know what? W video. That was pretty awesome. I gotta go take a piss, so I'll be right back. Oh my god, it's so hot here. Oh, it's so hot here. I'm gonna turn on my fan for a second. I'll turn her on low so you guys don't hear a thing. Don't worry. Don't worry. Oh, okay. Hopefully that'll help. Hopefully that'll help. Anyway, yeah, next video. What do we got? We got one more video left. Because there is about half hour left on stream. So, what do we got? The extinct animals that ancient Romans and Greeks saw? I mean, we could go straight down. Yeah, why not? Let's take a look at the extinct animals. The extinct animals that ancient Romans and Greeks saw.
Since the dawn of humanity, vast amounts of civilizations have arose across the globe, each with their own distinct culture, beliefs, and military. And while each one is integral to history...
Pause. We're actually not going to do this video. Reason being... Ooh, that's terrifying. Oh, you guys can't see it. It's behind my head. Hold on. Bro. Y'all see that shit? Terrifying. What the hell? Whoa. It's nightmare material. This is a half hour video, so we're actually not going to do this one. We're going to find a short one on the list. Oh, what up, dude? Welcome back. How do I know which one's shorter? Good question. I don't. So we'll find one that seems interesting. Like, the placebo effect has an evil twin. 6 minutes. See how long I can stretch a 6-minute video. We might be done with this in 6 minutes. The placebo effect has an evil twin. There are so many things that sometimes I low-key think is the placebo effect. The placebo effect is like believing something works when it doesn't. It's like, I think the basic example is feeding people like sugar water or something, or like pills that don't actually work, but doctors tell you they're treating something and eventually it just goes away. It doesn't actually do anything, but your brain, but you think it does do something, right? Sometimes I think Advil does that, which, I mean, I know it does. There's like science behind like constricting your blood, right? It makes your blood tubes smaller, I think. I can't remember. Also, like vitamins. Like I take a gummy vitamin thing every morning. They taste great, which is part of the reason I keep eating them. But I don't know if they work. How do I know if those vitamin things work? I don't. I just have to hope.
Please, put on your headphones. I promise there won't be any loud sounds, but this video is going to hurt. There's a study about hypersounds and how they cause headaches.
There's not going to be any noise, and I'm going to have I'm ahead of this game. There's not going to be any noise, and I will not have a headache by the end of this. It's all going to be the placebo effect. I'm ahead of this game.
Sounds are too high-pitched to hear, like the one added to this video playing right now, but cause...
Shut the fuck up. I can hear something. Shut the fuck up. I hear it.
Headaches they still do. The hypersound in your headphones is pressing on your inner ear, stressing the nerves leading to your brain, where if the headache hasn't started already, it soon will, as the
No, I don't feel it. It's all the placebo effect.
exposure causes headaches after only 10 seconds. Oh my, can you feel it? That pressure in your ears spreading to your now throbbing brain? Because you shouldn't. This study is made up, and there's no hypersound in the audio, but some of you will still have begun to feel a headache. Why? The nocebo effect. A nocebo is a harmless
The nocebo effect.
thing, like a video with non-existent hypersounds that causes harm, like a headache, because you believe it's harm.
Wait, is this like no, I'm not going to compare it. Like when you see somebody else go through a painful experience, you yourself feel it in some capacity. I have that to a very high capacity. I cannot watch the Saw movies, bro. I cannot watch the Saw movies. I am unable to watch the Saw movies. That would be Not saying I ever want to be tortured, but if you ever wanted to torture me, just throw on the Saw movie and just make me watch that, bro. Oh, hell no. Feeling somebody else's pain, though, I think falls more under like empathy. I think like you're an empathetic person if you can understand somebody's pain to that level. But maybe the nocebo thing is the same thing. I don't know, because you're convincing your body that you're feeling that pain. That pain is not like being shot in the elbow, like with a bow and arrow, and you can like see it pierce through. You can see the bow and arrow through. I would wince at that, and I would like grab my arm because I would like feel that pain local to that area. But I think that's like instinctual. I don't think it's you convincing yourself.
Harmful. That sounds like voodoo, but there's real science behind the nocebo effect, which is more than an irritating parlor trick. It causes real problems, like in medicine. When testing a new drug, doctors get a group of sick people, give half of them the new drug, and give the other half a fake pill that does nothing but which they're told is real. This is how science finds the stuff that works amongst.
Oh. I thought they just test that shit. If it worked, it worked. Yeah, that'd be a bit more secure to have, some people not take it and be like, that's the placebo effect, though.
The junk that doesn't. But new drugs have side effects, and sometimes patients drop out of the experiment because of them. No surprise there. But some people on the fake also drop out from the side effects. Side effects they've gotten from a drug they aren't taking, but because they think they're on the real thing, they've also.
Oh, I kind of see where they're coming from now. I was kind of trying to understand where the nocebo effect was happening, but you convince yourself that bad things are happening to you because you know they can happen to you despite them not happening to you. That's very interesting.
Thought themselves into the side effects. Now, maybe this is just a case of misattribution. People get headaches, and if they've joined a drug trial that lists headaches in the side effects, it's natural to blame the new drug, and
that's also true.
Certainly happens to some extent. But the nocebo effect is more than just misattribution. It causes real additional harm that scientists can measure in cruel experiments, and this is one of the reasons there's not an overabundance of research on nocebos. Approach your friendly neighborhood ethics board with an experiment designed to hurt people, and they'll frown on that. But sometimes nocebo experiments do get approved to the benefit of science and humanity, if not the participants. For example, under the right conditions, some people who expect a harmless injection will give them a rash will get a rash, but for people who expect nothing to happen, nothing is exactly what happens. And fake.
Oh, what the fuck? That's weird. That's whack.
Pills can be addictive. Take test subjects off pills they believe are addictive, and some will experience nocibic withdrawal symptoms like pain and fatigue from.
You think they're faking it? You think they're being dramatic? Do you think you could spot this type of person out in the street? Like when you're walking around, do you think you could spot the type of person who would be just an easy test subject for a placebo effect? Just NPC, nothing going on inside their brain. But you can't really say that. You can't really say it's an NPC activity because like they don't know. They are under the impression that it is the real thing. Do you think more people there are people more likely to believe in placebo effect than others?
Pills they could never have been addicted
Or I guess the physical reactions or these reactions
to in the first place. Another experiment gave people harmless injections, told half of them to sit there, and told the other half their pain would increase for the next 30 minutes, which it did. But in this situation, there's a drug that can block the nocebo effect, and those who were told the injection.
You can block the nocebo effect. What? I thought truth serum was fake. What do you mean you could just block the way I think? What?
Action would hurt, but were also secretly given a nocebo-blocking drug did not report an increase in pain, showing that the nocebo effect.
What? Wait. What do you mean we can just block that effect in our brain? What part of our brain does that?
Effect is a real physical process. In all these nocebo experiments, it's the belief in harm that matters. If someone dressed as a
You can't inject somebody and tell them not to believe in something. Wait, that's terrifying. That's terrifying. What? You infect them with the nocebo drug and they can't convince themselves that nothing bad is happening. Not that nothing bad is happening, but that nothing out of the ordinary is happening. Oh shit. Do you think a lot of people's everyday pains or aches or general well-being is totally based on how you mentally think you are in life? Oh my god. Do you think you placebo affect yourself into like your everyday life? So if you, I mean, obviously this would take time and like conditioning, and some people are obviously more fucked up. It's not like you could just like reverse like a knee injury. That's like, but like an everyday ache or something. You wake up and you feel like your neck always hurts, but you just like conditioned yourself to always think that way. So every morning your neck will hurt to some degree because you just expect it to, and so your brain's like, here's that neck pain. You expected it. Like, do you think? Oh my God! What?
voodoo witch doctor popped up and hexed you with a curse of great pain, no effect. But in a room with a real doctor and his clipboard and a big science machine and a needle in your arm, you'll.
And then yeah, nothing turns up on his needle. Nothing. The juice is fake. Everything he tells you is fake. And he goes, "You're in grave pain." You go, "Oh shit, I am feeling pain." You weren't just a second ago.
Take his words rather more seriously, which is why doctors say this won't hurt a bit rather than, oh, it's going to hurt, like a lot, which, by the way, was a real experiment done on women undergoing labor.
Why experiment that extreme, bro? You could have just done it with like a normal needle, bro. Why? Why so extreme?
During spinal injections. Guess how that turned out. But nocebos don't end here. While illnesses like the flu spread from contact with disgusting germ-infected humans and the things they touch.
I hate it when people sneeze without covering their mouth. I don't like it, bro. Your snot, mucus, phlegm, everything that's congealed in your mouth at 100 miles an hour into the air around you. Ugh. Put that shit in your elbow. Rub it off somewhere else, bro. Don't put that shit in the air. That goes everywhere. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, but there were videos in like the TikTok eras that showed you how germs spread when people like coughed and when they sneezed, bro. Crazy.
With their disgusting germy hands, a nocebo spreads from mind to mind, no contact required. A notable example happened in a Tennessee high school. One teacher reported a strange smell in her classroom and developed symptoms of headache, nausea, and difficulty breathing. These symptoms spread to some of her students and from them to others in the school. Almost 200 people ended up at the local hospital, but all medical tests came back with nothing, nor was anything harmful found.
I would think the place was haunted. If I was going to school, my teacher goes, I smell a bad, foul smell, I get a headache, blah, blah, blah. You're nothing but a school student, so you don't know any better. And you fall for it. And I end up in the hospital, and my doctor says, everything's fine, bro. And nothing around the school is weird. Everything's fine, bro. School's haunted. JJK's real. School's haunted.
At the school. This was a nocebo. The belief that the air was making them sick spread from mind to mind. Everyone who got sick.
The air is toxic.
heard about the symptoms from someone else. When this happens, it's called mass psychogenic illness. The treatment in these cases is to separate those with symptoms from the rest and reassure the ill that yes, their symptoms are real, but no, they haven't been exposed to anything toxic, and yes, people are getting better quickly.
Okay. So you separate the ones that are actually sick, the ones that show positive signs of sickness, right? Then you go to the fake group and you don't tell them that they're faking because that would just piss them off. They're like, no, I'm actually feeling this. And then they'd feel it even more. Instead, you go, you are feeling it, right? You are feeling the headache. You are feeling sick. You do feel like you're going to throw up. But luckily, you were not exposed to any toxic air. And even better, I was talking to some of the other clients. They're getting better already. They were feeling better after a few deep breaths. So stay positive, man.
This last is one of the indicators that separates a real poison gas leak or biological weapon from mass psychogenic illness. But the final factor, number of cases increasing with greater media coverage, can lead to this kind of thing spreading far and wide. Take electrosensitives, people who get nausea, among other things, from exposure.
Electrosensitivity, nausea, pain, rashes, sleeplessness, fatigue, and
Two
more.
parts of the electromagnetic spectrum, notably Wi-Fi, the density of which is increasing over time, forcing particularly bad.
Oh no, dude. If you got headaches just because you sat next to some Wi-Fi, oh, you're cooked in modern day. Are you fucking kidding me? You can't sleep because there are Wi-Fi towers around you? Oh, bro, I feel bad. That's tough, bro.
Bad sufferers to retreat to places like the creepy-sounding radio silent zone in where else? West Virginia. But put electrosensitives in a room with a Wi-Fi router and they can't actually tell via their symptoms if it's on or off. Instead, their symptoms track with being told if it's on or off. And if you make a group of people without
What? What?
and they can't actually tell via their symptoms if it's on or off. Instead, their symptoms track with being told if it's on or
So they can't tell that it's on or off, but they get a headache if it's on. Then you can tell that it's on. The fuck?
off.
Because if it was off, you wouldn't have a headache.
And if you make a group of people without electrosensitivity watch a news report on how Wi-Fi makes you ill while another group watches something uninformative and afterward expose both groups to a fake Wi-Fi signal, only those who watch the news report feel sick. There's a similar phenomenon called wind farm disease with
They made it up. That makes a lot more sense.
similar side effects, which turns up where it's been talked about on the local news, but not in other places in the same country with the same wind farms where it isn't. All this makes it too easy to mock people for thinking they're getting sick from Wi-Fi or wind farms with Wi-Fi, but it's important to realize they're not crazy. The side effects are real, they're just...
Yeah, but like, to an extent, kind of are. The whole like 5G thing, the radio towers are like doing crazy things to us, bro. What?
wrong about the source. All evidence...
Speaking of radio towers, though, Siren Head, that shit gave me nightmares for way too long, bro. Genuinely one of the most terrifying cryptics ever.
to the belief in electrosensitivity as the cause of electrosensitivity, which means the news reports talking about these illnesses are spreading a kind of mind virus. And while these are exotic examples, there's also evidence that some...
Does that technically make them real? Because they do exist. Not really. It's all in your mind.
Some allergies and asthma cases are no...
I wish allergies were in my mind, bro. If I could convince myself I didn't have allergies, I would have by now. But every year, like clockwork, pollen comes out. We're hanging out at a friend's house or like my sister's house. She has a cat. I'm cooked. And there's nothing I can do about it.
sebic and thus able to be spread in the same way. To be clear, if someone's having an asthma attack, that's not the time to tell them you know they're being a drama llama because you watched an internet video about the nocebo effect. They're really having an asthma attack and they really need something to make it stop, and that's really not you showing off your knowledge. Harmful things aren't just harmful because we believe they are. The right dose of arsenic will kill you just as surely as an anvil to the head, no matter your insistence otherwise, but the nocebo effect does show that our beliefs about otherwise harmless things can make them harmful, which means that our voodoo doctor's hex from before really could work, but only if you were foolish enough to believe him.
Yeah, that makes sense. You are sleepy. Wow. Well, that was a pretty W video. I fuck with that. CGP Gray, 7 million subscribers. This was posted 12 years ago. I was almost a little concerned that this was going to be AI related, or like an AI channel, because I'd seen a handful of AI channels that are like stick figures 12 years ago. But he was ahead of the curve. But he was cooking long before him. Dude, a 30-second unskippable ad. You see that shit? You see that shit? There was a high pitch. There was a high pitch sound. Fun fact, my mom convinced me I could hear electricities because she could. Long story short, involved her realizing she had lifelong tinnitus and just only noticed it indoors where it's quiet. Had a psychogenic tinnitus whenever the lights were on for like a year. That's crazy. Convincing your kid she has tinnitus. You can hear shit. You can hear electricity. You can hear electricity. All right, chat. Bring it back. Peace out. Thank you guys for coming, chilling with me. We do got to hop off, though, since it has been 2 hours. We will be back tomorrow. We are doing a... What are we doing? Wait. Let's check that before going. I have a stream schedule. Stream schedule has a philosophy. So we'll be watching philosophy videos tomorrow at the same time, 7 p.m. So come hang out. All right. Peace out.